Okay. Hello, folks. Thanks for joining us on this LinkedIn Live from SDV Office Systems. We are talking about designing within the IDIQ, how the VA designers can maximize impact and efficiency. And I'm so lucky to have two experts, real experts in this space. I'm going to have them introduce themselves. Jen, you start. Sarah, you're second.
Hey, everybody. I am Jen Viss, obviously with SDV Office Systems. I've been working on government projects for about 13 years, and I've been with SDV as the Director of Design for almost 8 years right now.
And I'm Sarah Hempel-Seitzma. I've been working in the design field specifically with government projects for about 12 years and at SDV for the past 7 years.
That's fantastic. And how long have you guys been working within the IDIQ now?
Seven years.
So yep. Right from the get-go, right?
Yep.
All right, so let's jump into this bad boy. So you have been working on it from the beginning. You know the ins and outs. Let's talk about it. So I don't know which one to hit this question first, but the first question is, what is the IDIQ? Why was it set up? And what does it mean to design within the IDIQ?
So the IDIQ means indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity. So the reason behind the IDIQ is there's a couple of reasons. One is to offer less confusion within the government for purchasing. It kind of gives you guidelines of how to purchase things. And also there's other reasons like efficiency. If you need to order things rapidly without the lengthy bidding process of going to bids like SAM.gov or eBuy, you can actually bid just within the IDIQ of the 9 IDIQ holders out there. It also controls cost. So once a year, there is a price increase. So cost is controlled for a year. So pricing is good for a year.
And that's good to know. That's actually a good thing.
So once a year, your pricing is good. So those were my reasons. Anything to add?
Also with the IDIQ, each of all the products have to be vetted specifically against an MTR or a minimum technical requirement. So all products that would be approved, say for a task chair, they all have to meet a certain requirement. So it's kind of an apples to apples across different manufacturers.
And what about services in the IDIQ? Can you get services within it? And what type of services?
You can get design services, installation, reconfiguration of existing products, as well as furniture.
And, we're going to talk about dealers later on, but can you pick your own dealer and installer within the IDIQ within reason?
You can. We obviously are not, we're located in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, but we are not everywhere, of course. So we rely on dealers and installers that are local for the VAs to service them as well. So we kind of pick somebody in their backyard, the VA's backyard around the country.
Okay. That's actually really interesting. So it's a nice, powerful way that the designer can buy things and expect a certain level of quality and consistency because the price isn't going to just change on them.
Correct. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
So let's still use the local dealers and installers in their area. So it's not, it's not adding the price because we're sending somebody from another state. So we keep it local for them.
So I'm sure this took a long time to set up. And so folks are going to want to know about changes because the design world changes, tastes change, right? So can the IDIQ be changed, updates made, and how does that process work?
Yes. So once a year, the SAC, which is the Strategic Acquisition Center, opens it up, usually around this time, October, November. And that's when manufacturers can add new products on, or a manufacturer that's not already existing on the contract can be added. And that's when they will look at the MTRs for a specific item and see if they can meet the requirements for those. And then pricing then is updated after that. So there's one specific pricing that's held for approximately a year. And then you wait until the next open enrollment, basically.
So we're actually working on that right now.
Oh, yeah. Okay. It's update season.
So it starts right after year end. We start ramping up to get.
And that's government fiscal year end, right?
That is correct. Yes.
Yep.
We start ramping up to get manufacturers added, get more products added. And the process is a little long. We probably won't see a modification to the current IDIQ contract till probably maybe April, May. But yeah, so it's like it's once a year around April, May is when the new modification are issued.
And it stays. Once it's in, it doesn't have like a 1-year shelf life. It's in the IDIQ for as long as the IDIQ is relevant.
Correct. Yep.
All
And
right, cool. So go ahead.
The VA designer has a manufacturer that they would like to get added or a specific project or product, we can reach out and see if that can be added during the next enrollment period.
That's an important one. I'm glad you mentioned that. That's going to be my follow-up question. Great job, Sarah. So designers have some control over what's in the IDIQ.
Absolutely. Just let us know if there's a product or if there's a manufacturer that they're looking for that is not currently on the IDIQ. We're more than happy to investigate that and see if they're able to get on the IDIQ.
Excellent. Now, looking at the next question here, I'm sure there's a number of designers out there who will listen to the recording that have purchased from the GSA before. So give me a sense of what the difference is between the IDIQ and the GSA.
I think more than anything, you can start with the bidding process. There are 9 IDIQ holders, and if it's over the credit card threshold, which now it's up to 15,000, but it was 10,000 at the time. So anything over 10,000 has to go out to bid to all 9 IDIQ holders. So those solicitations come directly actually to me. I'll vet them and send them off to Sarah to assign a designer to, and then they start strategizing on manufacturers. So, and we actually have IDIQ pricing for that, which is different than GSA. Okay. GSA, there are, you can go out to eBuy for GSA. Some of the things that would not be covered under IDIQ would be behavioral health. What else? What else is not uncovered? Signage. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and those things there's different pricing for GSA. So, and then there's a different fee for GSA.
And you can't know, like the GSA can change its price. Someone in the GSA can change their price anytime, right?
So they have to submit for updated pricing, but yeah,
they do too. Okay, that's good.
They have to submit, but the good thing with IDIQ, it all happens at one time, right? So all the manufacturers, if you're doing a price increase, that's one time. GSA, it seems like they do different price increases different times throughout the year. So that's another.
And there's fees involved with using the IDIQ, right?
So there's a 3% service level agreement fee. It's basically for the VA pays the SAC 3% to use their contract. So that does not come to the IDIQ holders. We, at the end of the quarter, on any awards that we win, have to pay back. We have a report and we have to pay the 3% back to the VA for using their contract. So,
and also different than GSA is a whole manufacturer might not have all their products on the IDIQ versus GSA. So that goes back to the MTRs, and they get vetted based on certain requirements for each category that they might be under: seating, case goods, tables, artwork.
So there might be things that they can't get on the GSA that they can get on the IDIQ?
Or vice versa. Yeah, it just depends. It depends what the point system for the IDIQ is, and if they meet the point system. I think it's really a good system to go through to make sure you're getting good warranty, durability, things like that they have to go through, made in the USA kind of thing.
And that is true. Like everything on the IDIQ has to be made in the USA or installed, or how's that work?
So yes, that is Buy America Act is actually been quite popular with the VA. So we do investigate to make sure that it's made in the USA for sure. It cannot be made by China or a non-TAA compliant country. That's
interesting. That's a great share on that side. So let's jump into another one here, and let's talk about mistakes and challenges. So what mistakes or challenges do designers or even the contracting officers run into when utilizing the IDIQ? What's some mistakes or issues, challenges they face?
Yeah, I think some of the things, and Sarah, you can elaborate more. I think some of the things is that they're putting on solicitations non-IDIQ approved product.
That's first.
For whatever reason, the product is not approved on IDIQ. And it goes on a solicitation, which kind of puts us in a bad position because we have to basically flip that to a product that is approved on the IDIQ. But, we're more than welcome to have any designers or anybody from the VA reach out to us, and we can help them figure out what products are on the IDIQ so that doesn't happen. Because contracting doesn't know if it is or isn't on it, or they don't know why we switched a product. So
so you have to switch a product because it's on the contract, and the contract's like, why was the product switched?
Yes, correct. And we have to explain, obviously,
Yeah.
but sending an email in is not as easy as you and I having a discussion why I did what we did, right?
Yeah,
so
that's right.
If it's right from the beginning, then we don't have to have that discussion, or
So when a manufacturer comes out with a new product, a designer might see it from a rep or at a trade show, but it still has to be vetted and won't be able to be approved on the IDIQ until the next open enrollment period. So, that's something if a designer wants to use in the future and they let us know, when, again, it's time to update the IDIQ, we will reach out to the manufacturer and see if we can get that product added on and it meets all the requirements.
And I think one thing we're really good at is if they did put a non-IDIQ product on there and, they didn't reach out to anybody before to double check, I think we're really good at finding a product that meets their closest needs. So, we can match the vinyl, we can match the finish, but whatever the product is that they need, we're able to find the closest match possible.
Yeah. So you, based on your deep knowledge of what's in there, 7 years, if a designer happens to not look and they want something, you'll work very hard to match it up and say, look, here's how the fabric matches, here's how the colors match, here's how the warranty matches, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, correct. And we will also, take a look if it's a chair and you have a certain look that you're going for. We'll try to, find another product that has a similar look as well to keep your design aesthetic.
Now, would that be done during proposal so they can adjust their proposal, or is that done after win?
So we would obviously love if, all the solicitations came out clean, right? And all the products on there were IDIQ approved. But like I said, it doesn't happen all the time. So we go through that, we go through the solicitation and we double check. And if it's not, like you said, we will go through and we will switch it to something that is on the IDIQ, explain to contracting why we did it, and try to keep the cost comparative also. Yeah. So we're not, if something's on there and it's $500, we're not going to try to find something that's $800, right? We're going to try to keep it around the same cost is what they originally specified.
And then the designer might come back and ask you questions about that before. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, if we could do it up front, then they kind of know what they're getting. But again, if it happens, we're prepared for it and we know how to handle it.
This is really interesting because, designers might say that they have some impact on choice. But, you're there to consult them to match up. So even though they got some constraints, they can still find the things that they want, right? It's not like they're not going to get a pretty comparable product.
There is a ton of options out there. I think, unfortunately, like Sarah said, some of the newer products aren't vetted yet to go on the IDIQ. And that's maybe a mistake that they make. But it's not like we can't get it in the future. We just can't get it now.
And also there's, VA's designers might have a specific time frame that they need to meet for an installation or a ribbon opening. So we will look at the manufacturers as well and make sure that we can get those in the lead time matches what they have. And our post-award team will also work with.
Yeah, Sarah, we talked a little about that before the session, right? Making sure they support them on the ribbon cutting dates and the other dates that, can be challenging, right? And they might miss out. They might miss things that are critical.
Correct. And it also comes down to fabrics too sometimes. If that fabric we know is a long lead time, we can try to find an alternate that would have a similar look and also work on the projects that
you might like that, but it's going to take 15 weeks and you got to get the thing opened up in 9. It ain't going to work.
Right. And then there's some lead times, right, that you can get in 4 weeks, right? So 15, 16 weeks is not going to work with 4 weeks, right? So we're also really good at what, manufacturers are looking for time frames and lead times. So we keep up on that if any of the designers or anybody at the VA had questions regarding that.
That's fantastic. I mean, that's a really great kind of overview of how the designers can interact with you, how you interact back with them, and your expertise in understanding it and your ability to find those comparable products. So let's go to one of the best questions today, and that's talking about dealers again. Mm-hmm. So, I had to learn more about this whole supply chain, and it's wild. It's an interesting group of players, right? And dealers are really, really important. Installers are really, really important. And I'm sure designers have their personal favorites. So how do they fit? How do these installers and designers fit within the IDIQ?
So I would say 75% of the solicitations that come out that are over 10,000 or now 15,000 is dealer partners, right? Mm-hmm. So it's working with somebody in the VA's backyard locally. They may have walked into the VA and built a relationship or showed them some chairs and things like that. And we absolutely do give them credit for doing so. Even though we are the prime, we use them as our sub. And they do get credit for working with the VA. So we embrace working with the dealers, and we hope the dealers embrace working with us the best we can. We just have to communicate a little more because you've got an extra party in this. But I like to say, look at us, to the dealers, look at us as your contracting vehicle to get things through. You guys do, you're selling to the VAs and getting the product specified, and we'll help you get it through contracting.
Doesn't them working with you help them get their money faster?
I would say working with them helps with punch lists and things like that, so we can close up our project, right? So if we had to do somebody that wasn't local, right, and have to fly out a team, that would be a long punch list process. But if they're local, they can come and make a installation punch list, and we can close it up, and everybody gets paid. So and then the veterans are happy.
And dealers are boots on the ground for all those locations that we can't get to, and they can they might be on site weekly, and they'll know the specifics of a building. If there's elevators, there's construction going on,
they can drive by.
Exactly. And same with installers too. They we have ones that the designer likes to deal with, and they're comfortable with, and that they know they don't have to explain specific rules about badging, things like that. So we want to work with people who the VA feels comfortable with.
Absolutely.
Man, that's cool. I mean, that's really, it's just from my perspective, like you said, you can make it so much easier for a dealer to actually get the sale, go to the contract vehicle. You got the vehicle, you orchestrate it, you support them. You know what the challenges are.
We don't want the dealers to be nervous about working with an IDIQ contract holder, because we've got it down to a science now on how to work. Sometimes it's a new dealer and we have to go through the education process, but I'm more than happy to sit with the dealer and kind of let them know and kind of play it out on how things how things are going to work. Obviously there's little hiccups every once in a while, but after you get a few under your belt, I think it's pretty easy. And I think we see even more and more dealers supporting us, and we're supporting them. So,
good, sir.
And our design team, we have a specific designer that works directly with the dealers. So she knows what questions to ask, how the process works, can help them when it comes to any billing questions, because it's a little different than billing the VA directly since it goes through us. So our designer can help handle all those questions.
A lot of behind the scenes stuff that we already know how to handle. So we welcome the challenge.
And that was a wonderful setup for, really our last conversation on this is, you two have got so much experience, and we're really proud of some of the things we do. So what has SDV Office Systems done to provide the best possible service in this IDIQ world? And don't worry if you kind of review some stuff we already talked about, but what are those things that you've done?
I think we obviously understand the mission, right? Mission first, right? And I think that gets lost along the way within the 9 of us. So I think we stay true to that mission. I think we provide the best products and services that we feel that the client needs at that time. And we just are honest and about lead times, and we just want to see everything installed, and the veterans and our happy campers. Do you have anything to add?
Ultimately it comes down to the veterans and making sure that they have an environment that's safe, and that they can feel comfortable and relaxed at. And so we will work with any issues that might arise to get that solved. Again, in the end of the day, that it's the veterans that are the most important. And our team is set up so that everyone's a little bit cross-trained as well, so that we are willing to jump in, help anyone out, help out the VA designers contracting with any questions. And we're always even looking, if it's something that we're not even familiar with besides furniture, or, if we have any ideas, we'll, let them know. If they have any questions, they can just reach out to us.
Yeah, so basically dealers, you're a resource to dealers, answering questions for them. You can make your VA designers comfortable with your dealers and supporting them. You can bring installers in based on your VA designers' needs and make them feel comfortable working with it. If there needs to be compatible products, you can find those things. If they're missing on lead times because a product takes too long, you can make that happen. If they just have questions, a VA designer has a question.
Total communication with all parties, right? So I think that's one thing we do. And if we don't have the answer, we let them know we're looking into it, and we do our best to respond accordingly. So I think, from the front end bidding to all the way to the order entry process or installation process, I think communication is key. So
yeah, and I've been seeing a lot of positive kudos for the delivery team.
I know
and all the stuff they do, right? That's incredible.
Yep.
Yeah.
All the orders in August and September are being installed right now, so they are super, super busy with that.
I can only imagine, and all the times and dates and human beings running around.
I can't keep up with it, but they're doing a great job.
That's wonderful. Well, this has been fantastic. Thank you both for your wealth of knowledge and passing that wealth of knowledge over, and thank you for focusing on the mission of making it as comfortable and easy as possible for a veteran to get into the VA and get the services and support they need, and when usually is a difficult time for them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.